Okay, my next guest today is Oren Manor from Siemens PLC. Great to see you again, Oren.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah. So one of the acquisitions you made recently was supply chain.
Supply frame. Yes.
Supply frame, sorry.
Yes.
Correct
Yeah.
that. Now, supply frame is one of these systems that tracks and sources components.
Yes.
Using APIs that are built into these component suppliers. So therefore
Yes.
you're pulling out real-time availability and real-time pricing
Yes.
on these components. So
Yes.
talk us through how that system works and some of the real benefits it brings to manufacturers.
Okay, so the classic system that Supply Frame says is really going to procurement people and strategic sourcing.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, especially in the big OEMs, they look at across many designs, many programs for specific components, aggregate all of the amount, and then go and negotiate the best deal.
Right.
But with smaller companies and contract manufacturing, a lot of the purchasing is done ad hoc. They don't really do that type of aggregation, and we're now starting to take the supply frame data and use that to better serve our applications. One good example is design for manufacturing. Today our DFM is done really with isolation of the actual availability of the components. So you could be looking at a board, looking at an AVL, deciding which component to use, but you have no idea if it's even available, and maybe the price is double that of the alternative component, which is maybe a little bit bigger, but you really want to save, you could be saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
And furthermore, when we start doing the quotations, and we're doing these quotations, that's where the supply frame data is really beneficial, because we can provide very, very accurate availability information, the cost of the component, the supply form available, is it on a stick or a tray or a reel, the different geographical regions that it's available. Maybe DigiKey in the US has a lot of it, but in Asia, the supplies are more limited.
Right.
So we get to that granularity, and we have additional parametric data about the component that we can leverage to really do this quotation being much more accurate, and much more correct, with in a very easy way for these process engineers to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you also integrate with the big box suppliers as well to look at their availability, or are you really working with the original suppliers of components?
No, yeah, definitely. All of the aggregators, all of the brokers, all of the distributors, everybody's involved.
Everybody is involved.
Everybody's involved here.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So on some of these companies that are making components, for example, in China, is there any kind of audit done to look at the quality of the product that's coming out of there?
So not always. All of the data that they aggregate is really data published by the different manufacturers or by the different distributors. To that extent, we do have our Cybord solution, which is that's really what we've been partnering with, and are now Siemens is selling the Cybord solution,
right,
as a way to really improve the quality of the components. And the Cybord solution can come in two different shapes. One is that Cybord is actually getting the images from the pick-and-place machines, and in real time analyzing the images and making sure that all of the components are authentic, that they're also coming from the same supplier, and that it's the same lot size. And if it finds one component that is maybe irregular, it will immediately notify and can communicate with the MES to stop the line and take the whole reel into interrogation and overview it. The other option is that we offer a reel-to-reel machine, which allows the components to be analyzed during incoming material inspection. And before they go into storage, if, let's say, I got them from a broker I don't fully trust, or I bought them from another OEM that had them in storage and I don't know, maybe it was very hot there and humidity, I can pass them through the reel-to-reel machine and validate that all of the components are coming from the manufacturer I bought them from, that they're authentic, and that there's no corrosion, no issue that are going to be detected later in soldering. Right. So that's a very nice, solution for this type of supply chain issues.
No, I really agree. I mean, I'm very familiar with the Cybord technology, and I think it's a super thing to partner with.
Yes.
Okay. So the supply chain, or supply frames, as you call it, is doing a fairly comprehensive job of the sourcing and bringing the materials to the factory, and in real time. should it integrate with the production equipment once it gets inside the factory?
So I think it should, and we are doing initial integration into our analytics platform, because when you are overviewing your production, you're looking at your yield, you're looking at utilization, your quality, DPMO, and you're detecting components which have a high rate of failure. Well, knowing what the cost of that component and the availability at the moment in the market is important, because you're really making future decisions about sourcing, and if one of the components is very cheap but has huge quality issues, then maybe it's not so much of a great choice anymore.
Right.
So we're really bringing that data, so when you do that analysis, you're bringing in real-time quality data plus actual pricing information to really make better understanding of how much you paid for these components and what you should do when you need to now reorder additional components.
Right.
And I do see that a lot of our customers are going into even smaller lots and smaller batches. It seems that maybe the inflation and the geopolitical conditions are not stopping production, but everybody's a little bit more cautious, meaning the lots are a little bit smaller, so the mix is increasing, and more components have to be purchased now. So this whole issue of supply chain and managing it is still an issue, even though we're well after COVID. We still see the implication now because of this geopolitical
all the
factors.
over the overstocking that companies did during COVID, it's still working its way through the supply chain at the moment. But you're right. I mean, people don't want to go back to that situation, but they can't. They still don't want to do real just in time. They don't trust it yet.
No, nobody trusts it yet. No.
So that makes perfect sense. So I think it's a fantastic system, Oren, and I think you'll do really well with it. Have you got a reasonable supply installed base so far?
Yeah. We have a very nice install base on both of them, and now the fact that we can really bring this, full digital thread of the supply chain into the system, and not just engineering data, but this type of commercial data is a great benefit.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Well, glad to hear that, and thank you for coming in and telling us about it today.
Thank you very much.
Expand your inspection capabilities. Inspect in 5 directions using top and 4-angled cameras simultaneously. Find defects that a single camera can't detect, such as OCR and QFN solder bridge. Best in class performance 18 megapixel sensor.